Learn the ways of the ninja with Ninja 1987, where everything it does on screen, do the opposite. Ninja 1987, released in 2024 for Nintendo Switch and other platforms, courtesy of Seep and can't say the name, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna bother. Is a retro-themed throwback 2D side-scrolling platform game where you control a ninja, and you fight other ninjas, thugs, robots, and all those things ninjas fought back in 1987, that sort of thing. You have 7 acts to play through, everything is very, very tiny, it looks like an old Nintendo game but with more colors. You know the deal, these things are practically a dime a dozen these days. So your ninja skill set is fairly simplistic. You have a sword to kill things with at close range, a limited number of shuriken for long range attacks, the ability to climb walls, a double jump ability, a screen nuking ninja spell that costs a bunch of spirit energy, and finally a mad dash attack that allows you to cut through enemies in a straight line, also at the cost of some spirit energy but not as much as the screen nuke. Be careful with the mad dash, however, because you always travel a fixed distance and sometimes that could lead you, well, some unfortunate drops, of course. Fortunately, Ninja 1987 does have some modern conveniences, such as infinite lives. If you die, you're docked 1,000 points from your score. You have 7 acts to play through, you could go back and replay the acts you previously cleared, and that's about it, really. And really, in terms of being an 8-bit tribute act to all those old Ninja games on that old console, you know, the old favorites like Wrath of the Black Manta, Ninja Crusaders, or Ninja Kid, Ninja 1987 does just about the bare minimum and is more content with that. And on the surface, the game plays fine for the most part, controls well enough, fairly responsive with the occasional hiccup here and there where controls sort of like freeze on me. Most of your abilities work as well as they should, although sometimes the wall climbing, the game will glitch out and you'll be stuck in a climbing position which forces you to reset the game or hope an enemy will knock you out of that state. And of course you're gonna glitch out before I reach the final boss, you motherfucker. Other than a couple hiccups here and there, the gameplay's generally pretty solid, but not all that interesting, however. You've got 7 levels to play through and they're all fairly linear affairs, going from point A to point B, moving from area to area, that sort of thing. The individual areas are massive, not surprising since the sprites are so small, but nothing interesting ever really happens. There'd be large portions of the levels that are practically empty, and there's no alternate paths or hidden routes that require some mad ninja skills to reach. In fact, whenever the level teases a possible alternate path, it merely leads to a dead end. You've got neat moves like double jumps, wall climbs, and a nifty dash attack, but these are all just means to an end, and you don't get to do anything interesting with these skills. Ninja 1987, like I say, it's the bare minimum. Give the player some skills, some stuff you expect to find in this sort of ninja game from this time period, and call it a day. Unlimited lives aside, the 7 levels don't pose much of a challenge. Other than several leaps of faith or surprise attacks coming from off-screen, you could probably breeze through this game in roughly an hour or so, which is roughly the attention you'll give it before moving on to something else. I mean, you could try going for a high score if you want, but there's no leaderboards or anything online, no online functionality of that sort, so really why bother? As you might expect, Ninja 1987 bores a pseudo 8-bit looking style. It's a bit of a mixed bag. On the one hand, I do think that the level backdrops, the general scenery, and even some of the intermission sequences are pretty slick by the standards of the pseudo-NES pixel style. I appreciate that they didn't go too overboard with the color choices and kept the most advanced looking piece of business to the parallax effects with the sky in some stages, but the sprites are somewhat underwhelming due to their minuscule sizing and generally bland designs. Even the slightly larger tanks and boss monsters are somewhat on the meh side of things. The sound output ain't too shabby. You got some chiptune stuff that varies in quality. Either it's trying to be early days NES with very simple instruments, or it's new age fancy schmancy pseudo NES style with the works and stuff. Otherwise, they fill the requirement of music and are otherwise unmemorable. Sound effects are also 8-bit stocky and present, nothing to write home about really. Overall, Ninja 1987 plays the part, looks the part, and sounds the part, but is lacking the soul. It's a perfectly functional game for what it offers, but in terms of tickling that nostalgic fancy or whatever the case may be, all that really does is serve to remind me of games I could be playing right now. It's fine for a cheapo, pick up during a sale, beat it out on a single night, and forget about it afterwards type of deal, but anything more than that, not so much. Again, not a bad game by any means. There are worse ways to spend an hour or so and a couple bucks, but in terms of 8-bit ninja tribute acts, you've got better options.